Hello, good evening, and welcome to the LFC Daytrippers. My name's Emmet, and this is the Fatback Four. Tonight, joining me are Seany, Kev, and Davo. How are you, Davo?
Grand, not a bother. Good to be on, lads.
Kev, surviving the thunderstorms that everybody else are talking about in the comments already as well.
Yeah, it's brutal down here at the minute, but apparently you guys are getting it soon, so you'll have some fun later on tonight.
Good stuff. And Seany, how are you?
All good, yeah. All good. A great weekend of football so far. It's fucking. It's sure you haven't. It's sure you having to wait until the Monday to be played, isn't it? Especially after a dodgy result in the first, it just feels like ages. But back at Anfield tomorrow, it's fucking great.
Good stuff. Well, look, what we're going to do is we're going to have a quick chat tonight, just around the match tomorrow, lineups, predictions, that kind of stuff, and then we'll probably have a quick look back over results over the weekend as well. So, Davo, because the others have spoken about the result last week, what do you expect to see? Do you expect to see a change in lineup tomorrow, or what changes do you expect to see, and what type of a performance should we expect from the lads?
I'd say, listen, there'll be a midfield change anyway, because Thiago's obviously out. I'd probably expect Naby to come in. Well, Naby or Elliot was very good, I thought. Lincoln with Mauda last time, and it sounds Matip is out training, so it kind of sounds like they might want to take too many chances there. So I'd say Gomez could come in, and I'd say Nunez probably gets the start ahead of Firmino. So that's what I'd be kind of thinking, and obviously hoping. I'm expecting to win. I don't think it'll be a walk in the park, but I'm expecting us to win the game, and get off the mark.
And do you expect them to come out flying instead of what we've seen kind of more recently with the kind of control? Or do they have a point? They have a point to prove. Klopp is going to send them out with a point. He had
as much as a manager, or as much as he normally does anyway, have a go at the players. He had a go at them after the game for their attitude, application, all that stuff you don't want to hear when you're a professional. So listen, I'm sure training's been they've been at it, I would say, all week now, to be honest. And I'd expect them to come out against a decent side. I didn't see Palace and Arsenal, but I believe Arsenal started well and finished strong, but in the middle, Palace had plenty in the game. So Palace are decent. So, but now I'd expect us to come out and be at it, yeah.
And Kev, you are kind of one of the more vocal ones about how well Palace played against Arsenal in the first game of the season. How do you expect we're going to handle them?
I think the start is key. We've been starting poorly from the back end of last season right through this season. Even parts of pre-season, some games that just weren't quite on it. I expect to see the changes that Davo made are probably the same changes I'd have made. I don't know what he'll do with midfield with Henderson, but it's important that we press Anderson and don't let him settle on the ball. His passing is ridiculous good for a centre-back. And if he's allowed to ping 40, 50-yard balls from there, he can cause us problems. Other than that, I expect us to start better, and I expect us to win. The home atmosphere, first game under the lights, Monday Night Football. It's after the weekend, it's just gone as well. It's important, even this early on, that you don't slip too far behind. You got to keep pace with City, even at this early stage. So I'm expecting a solid performance and 3 points, nothing less.
Good stuff. And Kev kind of touched on it there, Seany, with Chelsea and Spurs, which a lot would have you believe will be challenging as well. Drawn today, it's probably even more important now to get the 3 points tomorrow night against Palace.
Yeah, look, I'm not buying into the Spurs and Chelsea thing just yet. I'm still of the idea that there's still only 2 90-point teams in the league, and it's us and City, and I think that's the way it will be again. You're kind of seeing today that the issues that both Chelsea and Spurs have, Chelsea up the top end of the pitch, and Spurs look a bit ropey at the back, I think. So, regardless of what's going on around, I just think we need a response because of the fact we dropped points last week, and I'm of the idea now where I don't even think there's such thing as a draw in this league anymore. I think you either win or you lose. If you don't win, there's literally no point drawing. with this Man City side about. So we need a response, and I'm with Davo as well. I think it's going to be tough tomorrow. I really do. I think there is moments where we are going to have to ride the storm a little bit. Gomez going back in there, he's going to need to be at it, because what Palace will do is they will stretch it and they will test you. They've got some really, really good footballers there, and I think it's actually, not that it's gone under the radar, but I think Vieira is doing a really good job, and they're recruiting really well as well. They brought some good players in. Like, they'll miss Gallagher this year, but that lad Koyate they brought in, what's his name in the middle?
I think he is Koyate. I think he is Koyate.
Yeah, he looked decent against Arsenal. They're going to be a physical side. They've plenty of runners. They're willing runners, and like Kev said, this new fella Anderson, they brought him in from Fulham, looked decent there, but he seems to be giving them a little bit of a different dimension now with his passing ability. So yeah, look, it's going to be check the core. Sorry, in chat.
Check the core.
So yeah, I think it's going to be a tough game, but I think we'll have enough. I think not so much a statement, but just go out there and prove, because we were shy last Saturday. Let's make no bones about it. We were lucky to get a point, and we need a response. A strong response is needed, and this is where, like, it's a bit crap that we had to wait until Monday for this game, because it would have been ideal for this to be a midweek game after you drop points, because you just still be chomping at the bit to get back in. But like, yeah, it's brilliant. It's brilliant to be back at Anfield, and I hope Nunez does get the nod, because let's be honest, Bobby didn't give us a whole lot, so it'll be interesting. I'm looking forward to it. I hope it's fucking rocking and all. It should be, you know what I mean? I really do.
And I was talking on Thursday, Davo, about we kind of did lineup predictions, and I actually thought that Gomez might come in anyway. This was before Matip had set out training, because of, like what Kev said and Seany said, that Anderson, if given time on balls, he can actually just spray them diagonal balls. And with the pace again that Seany touched on, that Palace have up front, he could be hitting those kind of channels in behind Robbo and Trent if they've got kind of too far forward. Do you think that would have been a change that he maybe would have looked at without the Matip injury? Look, Matip could still start. But do you think that adding Gomez in with pace would suit that type of a game?
Yeah, look, he could have gone down that road, definitely, because I think Gomez is quicker than Matip. I don't think Matip is a slouch now by any means, but particularly, obviously, the way we play, how high Trent will be. Maybe he would have done looking for that bit of extra pace. But I hope Gomez takes his chance, because it's going to be tough for him. As regards, like, we've got obviously Virgil always plays, and then you've got Kanate and Matip. It's been a toss to the coin between them. He's kind of been a bit of a forgotten man, even though he played. He was kind of ever present when we won the league. So, and if we're honest, I don't think what he served up in the last maybe 6 months or so has been great when he's got in. And look, that can be difficult, because he's not he's not in every week, and he's just coming in and fits and starts and stuff like that. So I think he's excellent, but I think he needs a run of games, but he's not going to get a run of games if he doesn't take his chance. So it's kind of catch-22. So I really hope he comes in and kind of hits the ground running and take his chance, and then puts it back onto Klopp about the other two boys going, well, listen, I'm in. I'm after being doing the business. So look, I leave me beside Virgil. So I've got a lot of time for him, and I really hope he takes his chance.
And Kev, if it's a case that Gomez comes in, so we saw, not last season, obviously the season before, most of us probably would have said, let's move Matip on because of injury worries. And then it was like a resurrection of Joel Matip last season. And like what Davo said, he kind of got his chance. He stayed fit, and he almost cemented that place. Now, I know Kanate came in for Champions League games and that, and the odd time here and there. But essentially, that position beside Matip, Van Dijk last season was Matip's. If Joe comes in and takes his chance, do you see him ousting the other pair and becoming the first choice?
I think he'll eventually. I think the idea is, with him after signing his new contract, he's extended his contract, he's extended his deal, so he's happy at the club. I think the idea by the end of the season is that he will probably be, if not first pick with Virgil, he'll be first change between him and Ibu. And by the end of the season, Joel should be down the pecking order. As long as the other two kick on, they have to force him down there. It's up to them. This one thing with Klopp, once you've got the shirt and you're doing a job, he's reluctant to take it off you. And especially with Joe Gomez, with what he's been through with his injuries, if he's in the side and he's playing well, he'll want to keep him playing and give as much time to Konate as possible to recover from this knock. And it doesn't do anyone any harm watching games from the sidelines from time to time. And you need a strong rotation in there as well. Virgil isn't getting any younger. You want to be able to give him rest through the season as well. You know, it's going to be a really demanding season for him, probably more than the other three, because he's definitely going to Qatar. And the Netherlands could do quite decent. So you might need it more so in January to be able to give him a proper rest and give him a proper break, because whoever goes on to win the World Cup is only going to have a week off. Everyone else is going to have 3-4 weeks, maybe 5, you know. But if we have players that are involved deep in that tournament, it could be January is when they suffer. So it's important that Joe takes his chance and really moves on, really kicks on. He's good enough. We know that. We've seen it enough. It's just getting him on the pitch regularly enough builds confidence, and that in itself builds performance. So it's really hope more than anything. This could be a blessing in disguise. You know, they probably precautionally give Joel a rest anyway. You know, they won't risk him for the sake of one game against Palace. And you were probably right. With their balls in behind and how high Trent will be, Joe Gomez is probably an ideal person to come in and play. It would have probably been Konate. But, you know, the football has a way of opening doorways, and there's one there for Joe Gomez to walk into. I hope it works for him.
Seany, a lot of people, and probably myself included, would probably think that the long-term centre-back pairing, or ideally the long-term centre-back pairing, would be Gomez and Konate. Look, Virgil, as good as he is, isn't getting any younger. Matip not too far behind him. Do you see that being our long-term centre-back pairing going forward?
Yeah, well, you'd have to think about the club strategy and the way they've recruited that. It's like that January when we needed a centre-back, we didn't just throw one in there for the sake of it. It's always long-term, you know what I mean? And that's we done the business with Konate, and he's around now for a while. And let's be honest, Konate was playing brilliant at the back end of last year. He was excellent. Probably our best player in the Champions League final, I thought. But giving Gomez the contract, I don't think it was like a protect and value team, because I believe there were a couple of teams sniffing around, and apparently Villa were looking at him. So I'd say there was offers there for Gomez, because he is really talented. He's had rotten luck with injuries. He gets his leg broke up only, and then we still don't know what happened to him last time around. But by all accounts, it wasn't great. So he's been on the wrong end of luck, I think. 1920 is brilliant. He builds a real partnership with Van Dijk, and I think I'm with Shane now. I think it's time to just take it now, take your chance, or you might not get it again. Because if he's looking to be, he should be going to that World Cup. I think if you're picking England's back four, back five, whatever Southgate plays, I'd have him starting ahead of some of the players he uses. And I don't think that's a stretch. And that should be his goal. So to be doing that, he needs to be playing regularly at Liverpool. And I reckon if he doesn't cement his position this time around, then I think if he moved in and brought someone else. So to be honest with you, I can see the club planning as if it's Joe Gomez and Konate going forward, but he's going to need to pull his socks up and Gramra. And I don't mean that being harsh. I just think he's not going to get many chances.
Well, if you think of it, if you think of it, we know people in the chat will probably know more. Was it Benfica at home? We gave Van Dijk a rest. in the Champions League,
and
I think it was,
he didn't play.
And like we were all over the fucking place at the back. So like I know that's not just on the back forward. Obviously the pressing was off, and lads Benfica had too much time the ball to pick their passes for their runners and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, we did get picked off that night. There was a lot of late runs.
Milan as well. I think he played against.
So
it was
the boys
the
three of them have to they'd have to pull their socks up, as in when Virgil's not there. I'm talking about when two of them are making up a partnership. They are going to have to step up and fucking try, make sure that there's not too much of a drop off.
The worry with Joe Gomez has always been if Virgil doesn't play, there isn't really a talker in the other three. You know, they almost play by example. They don't. You don't see any of them shouting and barking at midfielders to come back or to push out or anything. It's almost, you know how to do your job, just do your job. Whereas you see Virgil pointing him, just gestating at everybody. He doesn't care who they are. And same with Henderson. It's something that has to come into his game, really, whether it's natural to him or not. He's been at the club long enough now. You know, he's, 6 years, 7 years?
Yeah.
You know, he's one of the longest serving players at the club. He's got to start introducing that.
I think the flip side as well is, Virgil's a fucking unicorn. There's not he's so unique as a defender that he's just the type of player that brings everyone up around them levels, and that's just how good he is. And I'm not really worried about Virgil getting out because I think he has the head to play on. You know, now obviously his pace is a big part of his game, but I do think he'll have the head to play on, and it'll be like, right, you're doing my running for that, and I might drop. What's Virgil now? 31.
I think so. Yeah, 31.
Yeah, so look, you'd imagine. Look, if you're being the most fucking pessimistic fucker in the world, and he has no more injuries or no reoccurrences of what happened, you think he's going to play at least at the very top level for another 3 or 4 seasons.
And you mentioned recruitment, Seany. I'd say they have their eye on who they want to come in.
Yeah,
They for when have a couple of bodies that they're looking at.
That young lad in the 17s, I believe, he was. I think he was player of the tournament for England in the one they just won there. Don't know his name. Someone in the chat might know, but apparently he's ridiculous. He's ridiculous.
I see his name in the chat, and I'll be,
yeah.
He scored as well, I think.
Yeah, he scored in the final. I believe he's there. Yeah, Kwanzaa. Someone said there. Apparently, he's ridiculous, and there's loads chasing him, and the club are looking to fast track him into the first team. So, long term, I still think it's going to be Virgil. You know what I mean? And that's where I think, again, there's pressure on Gomez here. There's big pressure on Gomez because he's the one out of the 4, I'd say, that hasn't really performed in the last 2 seasons. Look, obviously he's had injuries, of course, but he got in there and he didn't really. I tell you, he didn't get many games at centre back last season, and Klopp chopped and changed a lot. And it was Kanate and Matip, and there was games where he played Matip and Kanate. So, look, I think it's a big season for Gomez in terms of his long-term future. Obviously, they gave him a contract, but he's gonna need to step up now because we don't know. It's never good when you hear Klopp just saying he's out for a while, and that's what he said about Kanate. And I think it'd be tough to expect Joel to be as durable as he was last season. Look, last season was an outlier in terms of his availability since he's been at Liverpool. So, look, he's going to play a lot of games, I think, this year, Joe Gomez. And not only for his Liverpool future, he should be looking, like I said again, to be getting into that England squad at the World Cup. Because, look, that should be everybody's. That should be nearly every player from now until November's premonition is to, okay, I want to do enough now where I'm going on the plane and I'm going to be away at that tournament when it comes around.
I think I pulled Kieran B's comment back up there. He says he might have been minded last season. Klopp even said his injury was way worse than Van Dijk. So and I think there was a few games where he actually played as cover at right back as well.
Yeah, he did quite well too. We did quite well as well.
Yeah, and I think it was you that actually said it, Davo, that the only thing wrong with his performance was that he wasn't Trent.
Yeah, well, he was at the Norwich game and he played right full and he played very well. But he wasn't Trent. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just you're not getting another Trent. Gomez was perfectly fucking capable that day. Played well. Just wasn't Trent. But sure, that's not his fault.
I think it was yourself, Sean. You were saying there that you with the Van Dijk, with the barking orders and stuff like that. I think it's more so likely to be Konate that maybe assumes that position, because he did play a few games last year, and you could see that he was barking orders at midfield and telling lads to be certain place. So look, we'll move on from the back to now the midfield.
Don't Jesus mention it.
No. We're not talking about buying players here. We're talking about who is going to come in instead of Thiago. So look, we know that Keita, it was more of him being sick than anything else. So he should be back. I think Tsimikas is back as well. The pair of them are supposed to be back for tomorrow night. So Davo, I'll come to you first. So a lot of people suggesting that maybe Fabinho sits out with Henderson in the 6. What way would you line up in terms of the midfield tomorrow?
No, listen, I wouldn't be kind of making changes for changes' sake. Look, Fab wasn't good against Fulham, and actually against Fulham, the funny thing I thought about it I actually thought he hit a little bit. I thought when they were pressing, he wasn't quick enough to drop to give himself positions to get the ball. Now, for whatever reason, look, he's fucking brilliant. He's a shy game. It happens. But I wouldn't be making changes for changes' sake. Like, if we only need to make one, I'd make one. If we can start Henderson and Fab, I would. And I'd make one other change. Listen, we all know Klopp rates Naby to a certain extent. And what I mean by that is, I don't think he trusts him going back the way, particularly in big European games. We've seen him being hooked. We've seen him being brilliant going forward and being poor for goals, like Atletico away in the groups and stuff like that. So, but I think Naby might just get the nod with Elliott to come in maybe after an hour and maybe try and link in with Mo and stuff like that. Now listen, Elliott was very impressive. Them triangles with Trent and Mo at Fulham when he came on. So I wouldn't be surprised either, or I wouldn't be shocked or upset if he gets an on. But I think it might just be Naby in with Henderson and Fabinho.
Kev, would you go with the same?
I think that's what Klopp will do. It's a massive decision, really, because Elliott has done everything to warrant a start tomorrow night. Naby's better off the left, than Henderson. So it's a straight shoot, really, for me, because if Naby's fit and he's training and he's trained, he should start on the left. He's better than Henderson in that position. But Henderson was the best of a bad bunch of what started at Fulham. And he improved when he went in the 6. I still wouldn't drop Fabinho. He desperately needs to get that out of his system. And Elliott, when he came on, was really, really good. It was lively and he brought everyone else alive. But was that because Nunez stretched them going the other way and their legs were starting to get a bit tired? Who knows? I think he'll stick with Henderson. And Davo's probably dead right with the first change will be Elliott on either side, depending on how the game pans out. But it'll be a massive call if he starts Naby and Harvey Elliott and drops Henderson. It'll be a massive call. And it wouldn't surprise me. He's capable of dropping these kind of things. He done it last season, and he done it with Harvey Elliott starting a lot of games last year when he was, breaking in. He's a year further down the line now, and injury aside, he would have been a mainstay in the side if he'd have stayed fit for the last season. He'd have been one of those first kind of name on the team sheet type thing. So I think it'll be Henderson, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's Elliott. Either way, I'm not bothered. It's got to be a cracking midfield either way, hopefully.
Seany, first game at Anfield, first league game at Anfield. Does he leave the club captain out, or is it a Fab, Hendo, Keita?
Zero chance.
Yeah.
There's zero chance he leaves Hendo out for me, because I think he's going to be key covering the fullback position with who they have. They've Zaha, they've Eze. They're interchangeable. You play through the middle. So I think that's what Hendo does really well, I find. contrary to what the Shy Hawks on the Twitterverse talk about, I think that he's going to be key in that game because he just gives you so much cover in terms of letting Trent cheat, letting Mo cheat, and I think that's going to be a big factor. And it'd be a lot to ask Elliot to be covering someone like Zaha, because I know Zaha, he's a bit marmite, but 1 week he's like playing George Weah's cousin, and then the next week he's like George Weah. So you don't know you don't know what you're going to get from him. So I don't think Klopp will take a chance. I think it's going to be Keita, Fab, and Hendo in the three, and basically because I do think we're lacking someone who can naturally play on the left side of that three. You never know. We might even throw Carvalho in off that left side. You just wouldn't know. We might change.
Milner was very good when he come on as well.
Milner was brilliant when he come on. So you don't know. He might even bring fucking Wijnaldum back and play Milner and Henderson.
For a club who doesn't have a lot of options.
Yeah. He might even bring Wijnaldum. I know he's signed for Roma, but he might just bring Wijnaldum, Milner, and Hendo back just to throw that Brexit midfield in, just to annoy everyone.
What about that? What about that unveiling, by the way, from Roma for him? That's unbelievable. That was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Credit where it's
due. It wasn't as good as Burnley's one the other day though. Did you see the Burnley one?
I seen the Burnley one, yeah. But I'm talking about Wijnaldum getting announced out into the stadium. Absolute hairs in the back of your neck stuff that was.
So look, I don't know. I think it's.
Does he even go with a midfield three?
Well, that's the thing. He could change. Like he might change. We don't. And the thing is, we kind of have the weapons now to do that because we haven't played with a number 10 on that club, but now we have a fucking hype of them in the squad who are capable of playing there. So you wouldn't know. You could throw a spanner in the works. I know that young lad is going to be in the squad because he sat out the 21s game. So I think, do you know what? If we're in a position tomorrow night,
I think Kev is the only one that can pronounce that chap's name.
Yeah, that's why I'm just not going to say it. I'd be like playing what's his name, Tim Vickery, just playing butchering names all over the place. But I'd like to. It'd be nice if we are in a position where we're comfortable enough to give that lad a few minutes, because Jesus, whatever I've seen of him, I've been super impressed by him. And again, he looks like one who's at the being fast tracked. Like
he's actually a centre half by trade.
Yeah, and they're at giving him a big. They gave him a contract, didn't they? So it tells you kind of.
They see him as a sitting midfielder, did he? Is that where they see him kind of being as a holding midfielder?
Yeah. So it'd be nice now if we are in a position tomorrow night, especially with the 5 subs, that we're comfortable and you could throw him in and give him a few minutes. But look, I think it's going to be more of a squad game more than ever now. I think it's going to be nearly as important who's on the pitch in the last 30 as who it is when what starts, and it can change so much now. But I think that's what you'll go with. I think you'll just want to set because look, I won't get into what people see or don't see in Hendo, but the one thing I always see with Henderson when he plays is he can set, when he's on it, he sets the tempo and he gets the ball rolling, and that's what he does really well, and that's kind of what you need in your home games. He's the perfect type of player for those home games. So look, I think that's what it'll be. I think it's going to be Keita for being on Hendo. Look, the two lads are going to need to be a lot better than they were last weekend, that's for sure. And fucking Naby as well, like, it's going to need to get the finger out, because I thought there was games which just passed him by last year as well. So there's positions up for grabs there, and I think that's going to be the midfield three you'll go for.
And Naby actually hasn't looked too bad, and I know it's pre-season, and Aquilani fucking had 6 assists in pre-season and then was shy, but Keita didn't look too bad in pre-season either.
No, look, don't get me wrong. Keita's
a pressing machine.
He's a deadly footballer. It's just sometimes like he's not arsed. It's just one pace, and I don't know what it is about him. He hasn't lit it up at Liverpool. He was more available last year than any other year, but there's still a lot of question marks around him, I feel. And look, he's coming into the last year of his deal as well. So, like Gomez, it's a big season for him as well.
Yeah. Well, look, I think I went for Fabinho, Hendo and Keita in my prediction. Onto the front three. So, lots of calls for Nunez to start. I'm one of them. I think Seany is one of them as well. Davo and Kev, I'll come to Kev first. Nunez to start over Bobby.
Has to start. I mean, he's caused havoc in every game that he's played. I'll be gobsmacked if he doesn't start. He's done everything to warrant a start. And he's exactly what you need to be able to push Palace back and not let their centre-half settle. I think that Palace are a tailor-made side for Darwin Nunez because they're two decent centre-backs. They're quick enough. They're not monsters in the air. They wouldn't physically scare anyone. You know, they're technically good players. You know, I think Gerhi is a really good prospect, but he's still got a few more years before he fully develops into a seasoned centre-back. And it'll be shock. It'll be a massive shock if Bobby starts. It really will. And that's no disrespect to him. I love Bobby. I think he's a brilliant footballer, but he's not what you need in a game against Palace. You know, it's horses for courses. This game is made for Darwin Nunez. And first game at home, he's your big summer signing. He's done everything you want of him and more. For me, I'd be amazed if he doesn't start.
Davo, I think it was mentioned earlier on to put pressure on this guy Anderson. Does Nunez, the way he plays, the way he's a bit of a menace, does he put more pressure on those centre halves than maybe Bobby does, kind of nearly dropping off?
Yeah, but look at it. Listen, it's probably like it's two different problems. Centre halves will tell you like the whole reason Bobby's been so good for us dropping into spaces. They don't know whether to go or stay. Frees up space for two wingers to come inside, and obviously then you flip it to Nunez, and all that fella's just born on centre half shoulders. He's all he wants to do is run in behind. You get that ball down, look in the channel, I'll be going in there. So it's two totally different. They're two totally different players, totally different ways of playing the position, and both like bring their own problems. I would say when Fulham thought they were like Fulham had obviously had the hour or however it was with Firmino, he wasn't doing it, he was dropping in, he was losing possession. They were kind of like, this is fucking handy. Then Nunez comes on, he's tearing off their fucking shoulder, he's in behind, he scored, and then he'd obviously, I think he too great. He the one do that flick the keeper side. Then he got in and had a volley cross goal that he really should have probably hit the target with, that he put wide. He obviously sets the goal up for Mo. Then absolute fucking nuisance. I'd say they were fucking just going. I'd say it was like they were after being in the tornado, the two centre backs, with the way like kind of having a handy considering how bad Bobby played to then Nunez coming off the shoulder. So I'm with Kev. I'd be shocked if he didn't start. The only thing maybe in my head would be that maybe a similar thing, hoping that Bobby plays better. We do get ahead, and the same kind of thing. Then 20 minutes to go, 25 minutes to go, Nunez is coming in, and the centre backs are going, oh fuck again. But look, that's just me playing devil's advocate a bit. I would be shocked if he doesn't start.
Seany, I know you're fully on board with Nunez starting, but there's been some questions about whether, with him coming on in games in the Community Shield against Fulham, was it a case that he had it easy because the defenders were already tired? I'm not of that opinion. But do you think he has legs in him for 60, 65 minutes to absolutely hound Crystal Palace's defence tomorrow?
Yeah, he seems to be kind of managed a little bit, because I seem to remember Klopp, I think he referred to like the first block of games in the Premier League every other year, is they kind of treat it like an extension of pre-season, where they do manage players' minutes throughout them opening games. I think that's probably what he's been doing with Nunez. But I think tomorrow night is the perfect. I thought last Saturday was the perfect opportunity to start. To be honest, away to Fulham in his Premier League debut, to get off the mark like against what should have been fodder in the end. That it didn't turn out that way, but he comes on and massively impacts the game. I think it's a dead. He's got to start tomorrow night. It is his first game at Anfield, first home, like under the lights. I think it's a massive opportunity to start, like to put down a marker now and kick on. Because look, I wasn't sure what way this team is going to play with an out and out number 9, but you can see already that Mo Mo acted like a winger when he come on the other week. I don't know whether you noticed that. Mo acted like a winger.
Unselfish as well.
Yeah. He's willing to flash balls across the box now because he knows there's going to be a runner on the end. Look, in this Liverpool team, he's going to get chances. And I think with what we've seen so far, even in the games against us, he's a lethal finisher. He's really good. Even the goals against Leipzig, he's in the 8-yard box. He's off the shoulder. He's pinning centre backs. He has pace. He's good in the air. It's obviously there is going to be like an adapting phase, but I feel he has to start tomorrow night. Because I think he's one of them. Like if he catches fire early, he's going to do damage in this Liverpool team. And with Jota out, we don't really have that much of an alternative. And I don't want to see Bobby struggling again. It's like watching your old bleeding dog tog around the gaff, and like, look, you had to give me everything. You gave me all the happiness in the world, but it's just tough to watch him. Bobby hasn't been good for a long time, to be honest with you. That might sound harsh. Like, I love the bounds of the fella. He's probably my favourite player of the Klopp era. Definitely one of them anyway. So I wouldn't start him. I wouldn't start him tomorrow night. I'm playing him into form's a load of bollocks. We need to be winning games, to be honest with you. And you do that by playing your best 11. And for me, Nunez is in our best 11.
Yeah. When you mentioned like Carnage there, Seany, it was like, I saw very little of pre-season. Saw that all the scutter boxes putting up his miss against United, right? But what did he play that day? 20 minutes. He gets in. He's in there, misses a chance. Community Shield, goal. Ederson pulls off a good save from in a one-on-one, wins the penalty. Then the Fulham game, goal, couple of chances, fucking saved with the keeper, assist from Mo. He's fucking involved in everything. He just causes fucking ructions wherever he is. So, and fucking long may it continue. I love a bit of that.
So in terms of, so we've gone through it now. So in terms of lineup, what I went with the other night was Alisson, Trent, Gomez, Van Dijk, Robbo, Fabinho, Hendo, Keita, Salah, Nunez, Diaz. Anybody go with anything different to that?
No.
Big game for Diaz.
Yeah.
It is a big game for Diaz. I mean, he showed flashes against Fulham. There was the goal he scored that was offside, and Bobby should have put him through earlier for another one. Or the other one that was
he hit the post.
He hit the post. He hit the post and he hit the crossbar that day as well. But if anyone needed a goal, he needs a goal. He needs a goal involvement of something just to kickstart his season, because you wonder if it'll start to play in his mind the longer it goes. And he's not. There's no one really on that side of the pitch to push him. We're kind of in that position now with Josh out injured. The front three picks itself, and centre halves, if they see Bobby on the team sheet, they know him inside out now. There's nothing new with Bobby Firmino, so he'll go off into midfield, and the centre backs will just leave him off and just let him go and do his thing. But Darwin Nunez and Mo Salah should open up a lot of space for Luis Diaz, and he needs to take advantage of it and hit the ground running. No better place than your first game at home in the season to lay down a marker for how the rest of the season is going to go.
Laszlo's asking, Shawty, how's your dog for a no-look finish?
I haven't tested him. Well, I'll give him a whale.
So, lads, score predictions. We'll start with Davo. So,
3-1. I think Klopp said it after. I think the game last year was we beat them 3-0. Naby gets a screamer late, and Klopp says it's the hardest 3-0 game he's ever been involved in his life. So they make you work for a Palace. So I think 3-1.
Who's getting the goals?
The front three, one each. Spread them out.
Kev?
I went for 2-1. I think Darwin gets 2. I think Darwin gets a brace. I think Palace Palace were unlucky against Arsenal, to be honest, right? They had more of the ball. They had the same amount of efforts on goal, and they had the same amount of efforts on target. And, Arsenal were lucky with that second goal. they're a decent side. And Vieira, like Seany said, Vieira's doing good things. But we have to have enough to beat these. You know, you're at home, you have to be beating these sides. You know, there's no excuses. You know, early in the season, shit happens, whatever, but you need 3 points tomorrow night.
And Seany,
I think it's going to be similar to the way the game went last year. Even like I said, I remember watching it. I think it'd be 2-0, but it's going to be one of them 2-0s where I reckon we probably 1-0 up and late into the 80s, 1-0 up, and it's 2-0 thrown, and we just nick it. I just fucking 3 points on the board. I take a Scudry 1-0 off bleeding Milner's arse or a penalty. I just whatever it takes. Get us off the mark and get us up and running. So I'd say 2-0.
2-0.
You're writing these down now. Are you going to do like what? You're going to do what Football Focus do? Like Mark Lawrence hasn't predicted a Liverpool defeat since '96 or something.
Yeah. Brown envelopes coming our way.
I just think writing them down makes it look kind of more serious. That's all. I went 3-1 with Salah 2 goals and Nunez 1 goal. So look. I personally can't wait for tomorrow. I know we have a few people. You're going to it, Seany. Did you sort out the passport?
I did, and I had a nightmare today with that NFC pass. I was thinking to myself, am I getting old, or is this just whole system just fucking stupid? Felt like I was looking at my dad trying to walk his contacts in his phone, bleeding. Didn't know what was going on. I was trying to get this thing downloaded, ticker on my phone, but got there in the end. So just have to brave Dublin Airport now first thing in the morning, and I'll be looking forward then. I'm meeting up with a couple of the lads over there, so should be good. I won't be on the Guinness from early though, because with a few rough weekends, the Dav kind of tested that because he was involved one of the nights, so it's been fairly non-stop for me. Top Lamb, Seany's dog with a diving head. So I'm looking forward to it. It's an early start. I mean, now, so I'll be probably tipping as soon as we finish up here.
Good stuff. So look, that's our game. Let's have a quick look back over the weekend. So the second round of games. Anybody standing out for you so far? I know we're only 2 games in. You probably won't know until about 8 to 10 games. Anybody standing out for you so far, Kev?
City are City. They'll get goals. They'll win plenty. Forest surprised me today with how organised they were for a side that's literally just been put together at the start of the season because of circumstances. They've had to buy in a rake of players. They brought another one in tonight. Don't know who the hell he is, but no idea. But they're after spending more money again tonight. And they're linked with Auer, and they're linked with Jibril Sow from Eintracht Frankfurt as well. Come in next week. But I was West Ham are a decent side, you know, and that was a pretty much full strength West Ham side. And Forest were so organised in that 5-3-2 or 5-2-1-2. West Ham should have scored. They had a couple off the crossbar, and Henderson had to make some saves through the day, like you'd expect. But I was genuinely surprised with how well organised they were and how good they were on the counter. You know, they were quick, young, lively side, and they could be a surprise package for a lot of teams this season who will write them off. You know, and if they pull this off with the amount of money they've spent, and it's all good money, all between the 10 and 20 million pound mark, they could cash in massively next season. Next summer, they could cash in on a lot of these players, double up some of their transfer fees, and sell them on massively. You know, who else? Manchester United, man. Oh my fucking days! How bad was that? How fucking bad were they?
I'd say all the players, when they went 4-0 down, I'd say all the players wish they could just vanish.
Some would say IP vanish.
I'll come back to you. Did you know that browsing online using incognito mode doesn't actually protect your privacy?
No, hold on.
Seany, you can go get a cup of tea there.
Emmet, You fucking know you're going to be doing this all week, and that's all you can come up with. Fucking hell.
I've done it 3 times this week.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's right. Without added security, you might as well give away all your private data to hackers, advertisers, your ISP, and other praying eyes. IPVanish VPN makes it easy to stay truly private and secure on the internet. IPVanish helps you safely browse the internet by encrypting 100% of your data. This means that your private details, password, communications, browsing history, and more will be completely shielded from falling into the wrong hands. Even your physical location will be hidden. IPVanish makes you virtually invisible online. It's that simple. You can use IPVanish on unlimited devices without sacrificing on speed, your computers, tablets, phones, even devices like your Fire Stick when you're streaming media. Whether I'm at home or in public, I don't go online without using IPVanish. IPVanish is offering an incredible 70% off their yearly plan for our listeners with a 30-day money-back guarantee. That's just like 9 months for free. IPVanish is super easy to use. All you do is tap one button and you're instantly protected. You won't even know it's on. Stop sharing with the world everything you stream, everything you search for, and everything you buy. Take back your privacy today with the brand rated 4.6 out of 5 on Trustpilot. So go to ipvanish.com/daytrippers and claim your 70% savings. That's ipvanish.com/daytrippers. And that's done with about 8 cans of Orchard Thieves inside. I'm proud. Kev, you're the only one that knows how daunting that is.
That is very, 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 very trip happy.
So you mentioned Manchester United. Let's have a little chat about the club that reside 34 miles up the road from Liverpool. What's happening at that club, Kev?
Oh, man, where do you start? I mean, I saw a tweet that Keith put out last night, and it was the most bang-on tweet I've seen in a long time about Manchester United. The only thing that he said, the only thing you can blame the Glazers for is not putting a structure in place to run the football club. From the Glazers to the manager. That structure is wrong and has been wrong for a long, long time. From the managers down, that's nothing to do with the Glazers. They've appointed good managers and they've backed them with money. The fact that they bought absolute fucking dross with no personality, the idea that they're going out to bring in Rabiot and they're still talking to his mammy about it. You know, it's a nonsense. The fact that the manager wanted Arnautovic. Now, if he wanted Arnautovic, go and fucking get him. It's his first window. You go. He's named that player. You go and get that player. The fact that he's been undermined on his first signing that he wanted. The fact is they're chasing a midfielder who doesn't want to go there, and they're still chasing him. Tells you everything you need to know about how bad it is. I thought last season was bad under Ragnarok or whatever his fucking name is. I didn't think it could get much worse. I honestly didn't think it could get much worse.
Ragnarok. That was a cross between Manchester United and Vikings.
So you're blaming
Thor.
Marvel film.
Marvel, yeah.
Marvel film.
But how the fuck can you put Christian Eriksen as a pivot in a 6? And put those players out on the pitch with Eriksen sitting a 6 with a straight face and say you know how to coach a football team. Christian Eriksen has never been a 6 in his entire life. He's a 10 or he's nothing.
Do you know what the mad thing you were saying there? Like, Kev, I was having a chat with one of my mates, a United fan, yesterday, and I was saying the same thing to him. I think people who turn around going, they just blame the Glazers on everything. They spend loads of money. Keith was 100% right. There's no structure. The biggest glaring issue for me is, and I haven't seen anybody talking about it, and I put this in a WhatsApp me mates weeks ago. They were all going on after the pre-season saying, I'm moving the ball decent. I said, do you know who's going to kill United this year? They were like, I said, David De Gea is going to fucking kill United this year because the onus is on him now to start moves and start attacks, and he's never been good with the ball at his feet. No. Never. Since he came in, it was never one of his traits. He's one of the best shot-stopping goalkeepers we've seen in the Prem. It's hard to easy to forget that, but and Shane, I'm sure will vouch for this. He's absolutely shite with the ball at his feet. Forget about the first goal yesterday, because that can happen to any keeper.
The second was criminal.
The second goal is criminal. It's absolutely shocking.
His body position.
Where he's receiving the ball, how he's opening himself, his touch, he just can't do it. And it's going to kill them. It'll kill them next year, or this year. And nobody's even talking about him being replaced. And I seen an interview with a man Henderson last week, and I was thinking, he's a little dickhead. But he obviously knows I'm much fucking better than he is now. And he's only in there because of the name and his kind of legacy at United now, although he hasn't won a lot. Dean Henderson probably feels hard done by thinking, I'm fucking better than him and I should be starting for United. You know what I mean? And he's after getting shipped off to Palace, and he has the game to Forest. He has the game as life. I think the hate is going to kill them. I think Gary Neville is going to kill them. Boy, with the shite he's spouting in the media, like getting into spats yesterday with Redknapp, and he's like, wouldn't look him in the like. United are a mess. It's Liverpool in the 90s times 10, because it's all under a microscope now. Everything is completely analysed, top to bottom. Like in the 90s, I was a baby, but in the 90s, did you know who a director of football was, or a sporting director? Did you know who was going to make the signings for Liverpool? You probably had no idea. No. You probably knew a name, but you never.
You always thought it was the manager. I always thought it was the manager.
Yeah. You probably knew a name, but you never seen a face. You know, like Richard Arnold was out fucking meeting fans, having a point with them, trying to be nice about it, and they were recording them, putting them up, because they see through shit. Like, I'll bang on here. I fucking hate Manchester United, but one thing I will say about their fans are they're not thick. No. They know exactly what's going on, you know, and it's just an absolute shit show top to bottom. And I seen a deadly clip last night. Arsenal played Brentford on the first game of the season last year in a Friday night football, and Gary Neville goes in on Arsenal top to bottom, saying he doesn't know what they're doing, they've no identity, this, that, and the other. And you could have literally just replayed that interview yesterday, before or after that United game, and it all would have read out the same. And look at the trajectory the two teams have gone in, because I think there is a bit of a structure at Arsenal. I know your man Edu comes under flack, but he seems to know exactly, they know what type of player they want, and they've gone and got that. United are at the spend in a window chasing Frankie de Jong. He clearly doesn't want to play for them. And then on top of that, I don't even think he's the type of midfielder that they need. And then the going boy, they have the man Jory and Timber, who's a right-sided centre-back. A completely different profile to Lisandro Martinez. Completely different profile. And then they go and give 50 million for your man, Lisandro Martinez. There's talk tonight that they're looking at fucking Mauro Icardi. Probably the most toxic fella you can put in the dressing room. Like, he was going around.
So is that not Icardi and Rabiot? Did they not have an issue?
Rabiot's ma drops him off at training, and fucking Icardi be in the bed with your mop before he can leave to flick the light on. That's the way he is.
I tell you, Icardi put John Terry to shame. I can tell you that.
Anyway. He's a knacker. Like, he literally has another fella's kids' names
tattooed on his arm.
He's a knacker. The fella is a knacker. And you know what? If Amazon had any bleeding balls with the way the Glazers are going, and they'd sell that, if they done an all or nothing for United this year, my Jesus.
You'd go full Rio Ferdinand, wouldn't you? You just put the contract down, whatever numbers you want on it, sign it. It would be gold. It would be absolute gold.
There's no profiling going on at United. They're not like everyone going at Klopp, bigging up all week. The right player. There could be a fella out there with all the ability in the world that they would have looked at, and they probably would have talked to him, and someone would have assessed him and go, he's a dickhead. We don't sign dickheads. We just don't. They don't seem to be looking into that sort of thing. And they're saying now that they're telling Ronaldo they're telling the fella who wants to leave, if he doesn't kick with his axe, they're going to terminate his contract. Like, what the fuck are you at?
Fucking music.
The fella wants to leave. He wants to leave. Do you know what? Like, it's mental, and I hate seeing all of these fucking agents in the media parroting the same shit. Like Neville now switching his tone and this, that, and the other. United is a basket case at the moment, and it's scary because for me they are, other than Madrid, the biggest club in the world, and what's happening there is absolutely mental. Do you think not showing up the games and all is going to hurt? It won't, because for every fan that doesn't want to go, it's going to be 100 from all corners of the world. He'll take the tickets behind them.
Spend a hell of a lot more in the club shop as well.
100%, and that's That's the problem that I don't think they get rid of him. I seen a thing last week. Yeah, watch that man Keaton is trying to do a hostile takeover. But he's doing it.
Yeah, man, Nightly, isn't it?
Nightly.
Oh, yeah.
He tried that
came out. I
years
think
and
it
years
was
ago.
early 90s. He came out in the full kit and did the volleys on the pitch and all that.
Do you ever watch Kobe? Do you ever hear the Kobe Enthusiasm with Larry David?
Yeah.
I was expecting that to start after he done that interview.
He's fucking. Seany's right about Neville. I just caught the end of it last week when he was talking to Kane at the Brighton after the Brighton game, and he said to Kane, "Well, look, I wouldn't say that these United players don't give their all." And then he's out after the game yesterday saying they don't work as hard as other teams they play against. So which fucking is it? Like, what is it?
And the thing is, Brentford didn't
7
have to
days.
work.
Yeah.
Brentford didn't
7
have to
days
do
in the
anything.
difference.
They
ran 14 kilometres more than United players did. Now, you've Neville coming out and he's talking about the training ground. He's talking about the stadium is rusty and the Glazers put these lads in. Like, there are teams in that league that play and train in a lot worse conditions than Manchester United do. You would imagine that Brentford probably would be one of them. But for a team to go out and outrun them by 14 kilometers yesterday, it shows when is he going to? And like you said, Sean, he came out and he Arsenal against Brentford game, he went in on the players as well. He's not once. Well, he started kind of going in on the players a little bit yesterday, but he's coming out and he's saying the Glazers are putting these people in place. When did you ever see Neville come out and complain about a signing or complain about an appointment of a manager? He doesn't. But now he's blaming the people that are putting these people in charge. I think Gav actually tweeted earlier on, says, give him the director of football job. Do you know what I mean?
Look, Kev is right, and it was only when he said it there, it's kind of a light bulb thing. We can all think Arnautovic is shy, right? And he's finished and everything like that. But if the manager went in there and went, listen, get me him, and they back down over Twitter fucking feedback and stuff like that. Now, listen, I know he's a knacker as well, Arnautovic, right? But come here, listen.
He's a useful idiot.
Do you know what I mean? Like, but if the manager went in and said, get me him, he's attainable for fucking 7, 8, 10 million, whatever he would have been, and they shit the bed and go, no, listen, we're not going to get him. He's like, Ten Hag's in trouble there. Do you know what I mean? After a couple of months. As in, I'm not talking about as in them sacking him, as in he must be already. The stories are coming out from one of the journalists. His agent must be leaking, saying he's going to go and promises have been broken, and he was told he'd have 5 in the door, 5 starters in the door, and blah blah blah, and he feels under mind, etc. So that's already started from his side of it. Like, Ray Charles could see that that's his camp leaking it to whoever it was. So
didn't they say
the stuff came out? The stuff came out towards the back end of last year when they appointed Ten Hag, that they were gonna let Rangnick work fucking 6 days a month or something. I'm like, what is going on here? Like, I'm really sure Rangnick would have been getting more money as is doing the proposed role at United than he's getting doing the Austria gig as a manager.
Yeah,
I think Arnold
didn't lie to him. He told
Arnold is doing the job that Rangnick is supposed to be doing, isn't he?
Yeah,
they got rid of Rangnick, and now Arnold is doing that job.
Yeah. So I think the one fella they actually, to be fair, when they hired Rangnick, look, he's a shite manager. Not a great manager, but the fella knows how to run a football club. And he came out after the Liverpool game last year and says, he says, I think they might need 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe even 10 players.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't lie about that. He wouldn't lie about it, like, you know, like, and then they fucked him off. So I think the one chance they had at getting someone who might actually do something, I actually don't know what's going on. I'd love to be a fly in the wall to see what's going on there, because they banged on about Woodward, and now it's on Arnold and this fella. Joe Glazer and the other fella, did you see the cut of them? They haven't a fucking clue who Ten Hag is, even now. I'd say if you stood them all up in a room in front of them, they wouldn't be able to point them out. They haven't a clue. They live in America. They look at the books. Look what they done with the Buccaneers.
Yeah, that's what they care about. That's on their doorstep. Man United are the cash cow that keeps giving. You know, you can always go to a bank and say, yeah, we own Manchester United. We want to borrow X, Y, and Z, and we want to leverage this debt onto that debt and move this money here, there, and everywhere. And we'll continue to own Manchester United and service the debt and take the dividend. It's their club. It's their business. They can run it however the fuck they like. And as long as they're giving the club adequate transfer funds, which they are, it's up to the club to fucking spend it. Now, every club should aspire to spend what they earn. Live within your means. What you win in Premier League prize money, Champions League prize money, endorsements, sponsorships, is to be spent back into the club via players, player wages, and infrastructure. And I think the only time the FSG have had to put their hand in their own pocket is for infrastructure.
Training ground.
Yeah, not for players. And nor should any club worth their salt. No owner should have to put their hand in their pocket to fund a transfer window. If you're doing that, you're doing something else fucking drastically wrong. You're either competing in a place where you shouldn't be competing, and that's not sustainable long term, or your chairman and CEO of your football club is absolutely shit at their job. We're run absolutely brilliantly, and long may it continue, because what they're being served up is absolute dog shit. And you can see why their fans are absolutely apoplectic about it. But it's more to do with the structures that are within the club, not the owner specifically. It shouldn't be the owner specifically. They're the deflection. You know, it's easy to shout Glazer this, Glazer that, when it's really down to bad spending, bad transfer policy, and no structure. That's all it's down to. If they get that right, they're not far away from... If they can get it right, the funds are there to bring in the right profile of player to get them from 8th, which I think is where they'll probably finish, into challenging for the top for the Champions League. It doesn't take much. You can get there within 1 or 2 windows. It's making the next jump is the hard bit, and that's what Arsenal, Chelsea, and Spurs are going to find out. Going from 3rd to challenging for 90-plus point seasons, that's the difficult bit. You know, you can always get into the top 4. Get into the top 4, 75, 76 points. You need a striker who's on form. You need a solid midfielder, and a decent centre-back pairing. You can get there with that. It's the rest of the jump that other sides are going to struggle with.
Well, look, long may it fucking continue anyway.
Well, look,
absolutely.
I think one thing that, like, not worrying for us, but worrying for Manchester United is when they come out and I don't know how true this is, but they claim they stopped their interest in Arnautovic because of an outcry from the fans.
Yeah.
Well, imagine if we didn't buy Salah or Wijnaldum because of what people on Twitter thought when we were linked with them.
Like, the fans are killing each other, and that's like the fans are fighting each other in the stands, and that's just not good. That's how, and it'll only get worse there. And the thing is with football these days, there's media, fan media, and there's so many different outlets with different takes, and they're this and they're that. That will only get worse, and it'll be magnified because look, they've been banging this drum since 2008, I believe, haven't they? Have they ever even got close? I don't think anyone has even tried to buy them. So, like Davo said, long may it continue. I just sit here laughing at them. And to be honest with you, I didn't even find yesterday funny because I was at a party with a few mates and they were just like, what's going on here? It's just fucking...
You can't believe 30-odd minutes gone, they're 4-0. The one thing with the Massimo Taibi moment for De Gea, that can happen. Shit happens in a game. A keeper can make a handling error. That's not to be all and end all. The second goal was a shocker. The third goal for the header from Ben Mee, that was just piss poor organisation at the back.
He beat your man. He beat your man to a header standing up.
Yeah, and the fourth one was what a pass from Ivan Toney to lay on a play on the run, first time pass to put Mbeno in. It was a beautiful goal.
It's that goal that you kind of look at the way we play, and sometimes we play on the break, and you think if we get that, like I think it came from a United corner, did it not? And it dropped to a Brentford lad in the box, and he just cleared it upfield. But look, like Davo said, and like Seany said, long may it continue. I'm going to wrap it up. I'm conscious that Davo does be up early in the morning. Before we go, it's just to mention the charity partner, Bobby's Wish to Walk. I'm just looking at it here. He's at 117,000 at the moment. We need to get him to 150. So even if you can't donate, or if you can donate, no donation is too big, too small. Share it into your WhatsApp groups. Run last man standings. Give 50% to the winner, 50% to Bobby. But let's get him to that 150,000 and get him the treatment that he needs. If anybody doesn't know, or if anybody's new to watching the show, it's similar treatment to a little girl called Sienna, who we helped in the past, and she's absolutely flying at the moment. So please share, donate if you can, and let's get to that 150 and get him the treatment he needs. Kev, it's in Cincinnati, I think you said.
It's in Cincinnati,
Ohio, yeah.
And according to the bio on the I Donate page, he's been accepted for this treatment. It's just physically getting the money to get him there, get him back, and get him and then the physio and everything that he needs when he gets back. Plus, his parents are going to need living expenses and stuff while they're there. It's not cheap. You know, I can tell you, when you're living out of a hotel for a hospital visit, it ain't cheap, and it's the unseen things that add up. So, he'll get there by fivers and tenors. It's fivers and tenors that'll get him there, you know. And it will. The sooner it happens, the better, because it'll be a massive weight off his parents' mind when it's done, and then they can get their dates booked and get him on a plane and go.
Yeah, and like you said the other night as well, is it would be great to get it done and dusted and have him back home to enjoy Christmas at home as well. So
exactly.
Please share, please donate. Look, we've done it before, we can do it again. So link will be in the description. Please share it and donate if you can. Davo, anything else from you for tonight?
No, just looking forward to hopefully getting on the board tomorrow, getting be a big 3 points as well, always is, if you don't get them in your first one. So yeah, just looking forward to that, fingers crossed.
Stuff. Anything from yourself, Kev?
No, we'll be back tomorrow night with a post-match, myself and yourself.
I've never done one of those.
It's got to be some crack. Let's just hope that it's going to be a nice, calm 3-0, and we can relax on a Monday night with a couple of cans. The only thing I did say, Chris Brack sent me a message earlier on. When we play United, as long as Alisson keeps a clean sheet, they're going to have to pick a goal of the month that's an own goal. That's where they are. That's mental.
That's it's like Luca Digne. He's Everton's top goal scorer so far this season, and he left them in January. Anything else from you, Seany?
Well, I'll go there. Looking forward to tomorrow. Getting back. It's always great to get over. See a few familiar faces. So organise a meeting with Ash and Matt as well as over there, I think, at the moment. So.
Oh, Matt, did Matt go today, or?
I'm not sure. I know he was
in the chat earlier.
He was hanging around Dublin. I know that, but for a few days he was saying that his missus.
The grave diggers on Gav's recommendation.
I'm in that Telegram, but I come and go out. You know, there's too much going on, and I jumped in it the other day, and he said something that I thought was very funny. He turned around and goes, "We fucking travel all the way over here." And Gav gave me the recommendation to go to the grave diggers for a Guinness, and me missus bought a fucking cars like. So I thought that was brilliant. No, but I'm looking to forward to seeing the lads over there tomorrow. Ash as well. He was done a couple of pods. I'll be meeting with over there and a few others. Alex as well off the Cop TV. I've arranged to meet up with, and Craig as well off Anfield. So no, it should be good. Should be a bit of crack. And please God, we get 3 points, because I don't want to be going to fucking Old Trafford absolutely needing to win. Although we should beat them, but it just wouldn't be. It wouldn't be ideal. Sure, it wouldn't.
No fear of that. I'd say at the minute.
Matt, I'm not going to jinx it, but Matt has only ever been to Anfield once, and we lost to Inter. So remove his passport from him if the result doesn't go our way.
Well, Matt, you're going into the fucking. You're going in at Albert Dock if we don't win. So I'm just gonna fuck you in by the jocks.
Good stuff. Right, well, listen, thanks, Seany, thanks, Kev, thanks, Davo, for joining us. Thanks to everybody in the comments. The comments were flying in all night. The wait is nearly over to try and make amends for our result against Fulham. So hopefully we can get the 3 points tomorrow night. My name's Emmet. That was the Fatback 4, and we'll see you next week. Good night.